Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you could join me today. We are going to be going through our paperwork from the school year. I'm going to show you how I organize our homeschool papers, records, files, all the things, and how I keep our records together. Just show you how I do it. How I currently organize my papers will probably surprise some of you, and others that know me very well will probably be like, oh yeah, of course she did that. So I already took apart and sorted through our curriculum, aside from something that is still being worked on by my oldest. There's so many things to go through and organize and sort through at the end of a school year. Right now, I'm starting with the paperwork and just making sure that we have everything together that we need to have, including records and legal paperwork. Our state doesn't require a portfolio or work to be shown. However, I do still like to keep papers for myself and for my kids. So what I'm doing is very different than what most people do. So right now, I save the majority of their paperwork, not everything, not every little piece of artwork that they do, but all of their curriculum books, all of the workbooks that they have completed cover to cover, I do save those. So my plan is in a few years, we are going to sort through all of their work together. So when they're a bit older and they can appreciate the work that they did when they were little. So maybe I could do it this year, but since her bin is not completely full, maybe we'll do it next year. We will sort through my oldest bin, starting with like preschool, kindergarten, first grade, and work our way up. So she still has space. So I'm giving them 2 bins, at least at this point. And she's already filled a bin and a half at this point and completed 3rd grade. So we do need to sort through the younger years, but she really wants to do it now, but I'm like, we still have space. So, holding off a little bit. I just want them to be able to appreciate the work that they did and have fun looking back on it together. So I think that will be just a really fun activity for us, honestly, as well. My thought on it is that we have 2 bins anyway, we have the space, so we are just gonna keep everything at this point, and then later on we will go through it and obviously not literally keep everything. I know I can always get rid of more things, but I can't get something back once it's gone. And obviously your child's work when they were 3 is like irreplaceable. So that's my thought on that. So speaking of portfolios, mine is technically not a portfolio. I'm just saving records at this point. But if you want to know what your state requires, go to hslda.org and look up your state requirements and see if you're legally required to save anything. So typically what you would want to save is something to show progress. So the beginning of the year, the middle of the year, and the end of the year, and any assessments, tests, quizzes, papers, creative writing, reports, stories. You can go as big as you want, like that, and what I'm doing right now, or you can scale it back and do a lot smaller. I would just recommend keeping something from every subject, especially language arts and math. So those are the 2 core subjects you're gonna wanna save. And then of course, if anything is required by your state for science, history, or anything like that, you would obviously wanna save paperwork from that as well. So when I go about filing things in there, I do take out let me show you this. I do take out any spiral binding or ProClick binding for the most part. There's a couple things I do keep together. It doesn't really take up much space. It doesn't take up extra space because it is sticking up out of the folder. There are times when I keep it in there and times when I don't, but if it's in its own file or it's a large enough book, I do take it out. An example of that would be their entire curriculum for math or language arts that this past year I used my ProClick spines and bound them by unit, and I do take those apart and put the whole book back together. I say obviously, but that may not be obvious to you, but the ProClick spines are removable and reusable. I do show you guys how I bind curriculum in my last video if you want to check that out, or if you're curious how that works, I do have a full video on how I do that. Now, when the book has this spine, I do actually keep this together because it keeps the pages together and it doesn't take up any extra space, so there's no need for me to pull that apart. Unless you are taking pages out to save. If you're saving the whole thing at this point like I am, I'm gonna keep the whole book together. Now, art. At this point, my kids are constantly creating artwork, coloring things, paper crafts. We have tape everywhere, scissors are flying. Like, there's just so many crafts going on that I cannot keep up. And we kind of just say, okay, you've had your fun with the craft, you got out of it the enjoyment and fun. A lot of the crafts and art projects do not make the cut to save. I would have an entire room full of their artwork at this point. If there's something special that they want to save, that's fine. So I did get them hardcover books, and if there's something special that they want to draw in there, we're obviously going to save the whole book. They don't always draw in them, so there's going to be plenty of room and time for them to fill those up. But typically they are grabbing a piece of paper from right next to me. Now, in my file boxes here, I do sort by year and then I sort by subject. Very simple organization, and I did already go through our curriculum and loose papers and organize all of that already. So I'm going to show you what I have so far in here. We still have another month or so left for this year technically, and my daughter is still finishing up her language arts level 3. This is actually our second level that she's completing this year. I will talk more about the curriculum specifically in our curriculum review video coming soon. And before I flip the camera around and show you guys some things, I am going to give you a tip. Have a spot for each child to place loose papers in throughout the year. So my spot is right next to me. I will show you. It's literally just a regular file box for each child, and it has their name on it. So if they have a piece of paper or, like I said, the artwork that they really do want to save, they can place it in there. Typically, I try to go through it every month and file it away, but it has gone longer and it has been overflowing this year. So I wasn't sorting through it as often, but at the same time, it doesn't really get that full because most of our curriculum is in a bound book. If you have a big pile just for all of your kids, if you have more than one, if you have a big pile for all of your kids, you're gonna be like, which child does this belong to? When was this? Because I like to at least write the month and the year. Sometimes it ends up being like the full date, but I at least like to know the month and the year so I can write that and their name just for reference if we're looking through the bin. So I have the bins for the curriculum, and I do have some records in there as well. But the main area where I house the records is actually the homeschool record binder. So the binder only has things that are necessary for legal reasons, and I do have the attendance. I just have tabs, attendance, the CAT test, and anything else that we legally need to have. Of course, yours is going to be different depending on the state, but I do have a separate binder of things that I need to show legally if I ever needed to. I also keep the attendance and the CAT test scores in here. I'll show you guys what the bin looks like, as well as my little area over here where they put their papers all year. Let me flip the camera around and show you guys. Right here next to my printer, I have this little file sorter, and this is actually all my teacher manuals. But I have a file sorter. This is the blank printer paper, and my printer now picks up paper from the bottom. So it's actually nice that they can't just take that anymore. But I do have paper here for them to use, draw, color, use it for schoolwork, whatever. And then here, this one is for Kaylee, and like I said, she's still working through level 3 language arts, so that's what that's from. And then my youngest, she's already done, but this is where they will put their paperwork throughout the year whenever they finish something that is just a loose piece of paper. and that's just right next to my desk on top of this little file cabinet. And you can see more of what the room looks like when it's not a destroyed disaster on my room tour video. There's a lot happening back here, but we're just gonna look here at the bins. So these bins I got on Amazon. They are wonderful. They came in a pack of 4, very heavy duty, and I'm very pleased with them. This is my oldest. My youngest I already have filed away. So I just have a smaller hanging folder here, and this is going to be like her little portfolio cover, grade and how old she is, everything that we did. I have pictures, the certificate of completion. I have her cat tests. I have a little all about me that she did at the beginning of the year. So that is what I have in the front. And then I have language arts level 2. So I have that in a folder. And I did take my little binding spines off, and then any work or projects that she did for like a certain lesson, I do put those where they belong in the lesson. So I did that, organized all of that together. Her little project on Paris. She finished level 2 before Christmas. And I do have Fix It Grammar in here. I did leave the spine on this one. You can see it really doesn't take up space. Language Arts level 3, I'm gonna keep the book together, and that will go here once she's completed with that. I see Math 3 is another one. So this is in its own separate hanging folder, and it's a big one. And then it doesn't have to be in its own folder as well, but I do have it in its additional folder with a label to show that it's the math. And again, I did take the spines off of it and put everything together. And then I do kind of combine things. So we have handwriting, levels 3 and 4 in art. So these are where we keep some pictures. Again, not too many. We have Bible and science, like her little workbooks. I do keep the workbook together. And then like projects, we did 50 States from Knotgrass and then Little School of Smiths. So we have some geography mixed in there. So essentially, this is her 3rd grade, roughly half-ish of a bin. This one down here is already full. So we will be sorting through this soon, like next year, because her 4th grade is going to go back here. I love these folders too. I let them pick the colors, but these are Pendaflex. I'll link them as well, but I'm glad that they were actually pink, light pink and hot pink versus like red. It was actually hard to find because even with the folders themselves, it was like pink and red go together. And I was like, I just want pink. So I was able to find that. And then the files that had like larger expanding capacity. My little one chose yellow because she said it was bright and happy like the sun. So I liked that, and pink and yellow looked pretty together. So that's what we went with. And on the tabs, I just wrote the grade and then the age that she is for the grade. And we don't really do grades. I will have a video coming up soon about that. It's a topic I get asked about a lot, and I will address it. So look out for that coming soon, and our curriculum review about all of these things and more. Check below for the links for the bins, the folders, and things like that. I will have that linked down there for you guys on Amazon. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope this video helped you out in some way, and that organizing and filing your records does not have to wait till the end of the year. You can kind of have a system going all year. As they finish a book or as they finish a unit study, you can always file it away in a file folder and you're just good to go. It doesn't need to be this huge drawn out process at the end of the year. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.